growth I kind of want to be the theme because I think we're at this really interesting inflection point in the energy industry where, yes, there's a lot of new solutions. Yes, there's a lot of kind of demand for the power grid. And we've talked a little bit about that. But more so, I want to talk about the growth of just battery storage to start. Like this battery sector is seemingly where a lot of the focus is starting to go. So what does that look like from your end as you like look at things as a CEO? How do you start to plan the growth side of a new sector, so to speak, even within energy?
Yeah, great question. That's a sophisticated one. I think I'll start with, as I've mentioned before, different leaders have different approaches to how they do things. There are some that are a little bit more engineering minded or tactical, or and then, for me, I'm always looking at what's actionable now that has value both internally and externally, so company and market, and then hopefully some of the other, the secondary, tertiary benefits across, environmental impact and or community. But the idea is that what can you make actionable now? So I kind of tend to go so high altitude, global perspective, that I am able to somehow see both, um, or I like to try to see both the near term as applied to the long term, and that they're not, as we know, time's a continuum, and it's not that there's an either or here, but I think it's decision making tends to get positioned as either or, right? We tend to make decisions that are about near future, and then really just kicking the can down the road around long term. And or sometimes we make big bets on what the long term is and then try to reverse engineer that into what near future decisions or actions need to be taken. For me, I feel like, and it's hard to articulate, but I tend to like to do an iterative kind of reflective, right? So if this, then that, and how does that play back and forth? Not necessarily having a super tight grasp on either near future nor long term, just that you're headed in a direction that you have the feeling or the impression or maybe even some data to speak to. If we do this near term, it does lead into a longer term strategy and play that seems to be fairly uh, probable. So
Hmm.
to answer your question succinctly here around storage, battery storage, let's go back a few years.